Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a pretty massive, honestly unforgettable milestone, your very first paycheck. Whether you're bagging groceries, folding shirts at the mall, lifeguarding, or maybe doing some freelance coding in your bedroom, looking at that money that is 100% yours, is just an incredible feeling. It's a tangible reward for all your hard work. But it's also surprisingly tricky. Most people don't realize that actually getting paid, that's really only step one. So today, we're breaking down exactly how to handle that new income so it actively builds your future, instead of just, slipping through your fingers by the end of the week. We're getting into the hidden rules of money that school usually leaves out.
Because getting that first paycheck, it represents pure freedom. For the very first time, you've got independent disposable income. You aren't relying on an allowance anymore or asking for cash to go out with friends. You literally have the ultimate power to decide exactly where every single dollar goes. It feels like you've finally made it. But that newfound freedom comes with a bit of a hidden financial crossroads. It's a silent test that nobody really warns you about when you're signing all that employment paperwork. How you handle these first few checks sets a pattern that can stick with you for decades. It's not just about spending, it's about forming habits.
Think about it. Have you ever noticed how two friends can work the exact same summer job, earn the exact same hourly wage, yet when fall rolls around, one is completely broke and the other has a massive head start on their savings? It's wild. But the deciding factor isn't actually the income itself. The starting line is identical. The thing that entirely separates the friend who stays broke from the friend who starts building wealth is what they systematically choose to buy on payday. It's a fundamental difference in how they view that money. One sees a ticket to buy things, and the other, they see a tool to build wealth.
Which brings us to section 1, the trap of liabilities. Let's look at why earning money absolutely does not equal keeping it.
So, what exactly is this trap? Well, simply put, a liability is a purchase made to look rich that actively drains your bank account. When you get that first check, the psychological urge to immediately buy something flashy just to prove you have money is incredibly strong. And hey, it's a totally natural human instinct to want to signal success to our friends. But the harsh reality of a liability is that it loses value the second you buy it. In finance, this is called depreciation. It's usually something you can't truly afford, bought purely for the appearance of success. And worse, it keeps your net worth stuck right at zero.
Think about the classic temptations when that direct deposit finally hits. You might want to drop your entire check on the newest, insanely expensive smartphone just because it has a slightly better camera. Or maybe buying a designer jacket you'll only wear 3 times. Or, and this is a big one, taking out a massive, high-interest loan for a luxury car just to show off in the school parking lot. And look, I get it. For a few days, having that brand new phone makes you feel on top of the world. You worked hard, you bought the thing, you feel amazing. But that feeling is an illusion. You just traded hours, maybe even weeks of your life for an object that is already rapidly dropping in value. Because behind the scenes, the bank account is telling a completely different story. While you might be walking around looking highly successful to everyone else, that liability is acting like a leak in a bucket. It silently drains your hard-earned paycheck through ongoing maintenance, monthly subscriptions, or just the simple fact that the money is gone forever and can't be used for anything else. It doesn't pay you back, it only takes. This outward flex, inward stress dynamic, that's exactly the cycle that keeps people living paycheck to paycheck, no matter how much their income eventually grows down the line. But there's a way out. Section 2, the power of assets.
It's time to start thinking completely differently about what our money can actually do for us.
So, if a liability takes money out of your pocket, an asset is the exact opposite. Simply put, assets are things that put money into your pocket. I want you to think of every single dollar in your paycheck as a little employee. When you buy a liability, you're essentially firing that employee. But when you buy an asset, you are putting that dollar to work so it can go out and recruit more dollars for you. Wealthy people use their income to buy these tireless workers. They build an army of dollars that work 24/7, generating income even when they're fast asleep.
Let's break down what those wealth-building assets actually look like in the real world. Businesses, real estate, traditional investments like index funds, those are the classic examples. But for someone just starting out, especially a teenager with their very first job, there is one asset that dramatically outshines all the rest: skills that increase your earning power. This is the ultimate life hack, guys.
Using your first paychecks to take a coding bootcamp, get a specialized certification, or honestly, even just buy a stack of books to learn a high-income skill. That makes you infinitely more valuable in the job market. You are the absolute best asset you can possibly buy right now. And that investment, that will continue to put money into your pocket and compound for decades to come.
It really all boils down to one core strategy: make money first, show off later. This requires mastering a real superpower known as delayed gratification. Wealthy individuals focus relentlessly on acquiring assets that generate steady cash flow before they even think about status symbols. They aren't buying the luxury car with their raw direct deposit. No, they wait until their assets are generating enough passive income to pay for that car. They let their investments buy their luxuries, rather than draining their paycheck to do it. It's a game of patience, but man, it pays off exponentially.
Section 3, the wealthy mindset shift. Let's look at the underlying psychology that completely separates those who stay broke from those who build lasting wealth. There is one fundamental question that really dictates your entire financial trajectory. Poor people look at an item and ask, can I afford it? Rich people look at an opportunity and ask, how can this make me money? This single shift in perspective is everything. It literally takes you from being a consumer, constantly targeted by advertising and trends, to being an investor, someone who allocates capital to build a robust future.
Let's put those two questions side by side for a second. When you hold an item in a store and ask, can I afford it? All you're doing is checking if your bank balance will drop to zero if you swipe your card. You're settling for less. But when you ask, how can this make me money? You shift your entire worldview. You stop looking for quick dopamine hits from shopping and start looking for leverage. You start demanding that your money works for you. Every single purchase becomes a calculated decision to move your life forward, rather than just a fleeting moment of excitement that leaves you financially vulnerable. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to really think about before your next shift. What will you buy with your next paycheck? Will you settle for a liability that just makes you look rich for a fleeting moment? Or will you choose to invest in an asset, like a new skill, that actually makes you wealthy over a lifetime? The choice, and honestly, your entire financial future, is completely in your hands. Thanks for joining me today, and keep making those smart choices.